Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today I have an upcycling video for you. I want to try and come back with some more upcycles and chatty videos and vlogs so that you guys can just chuck this on, whether you're in your craft room, you're making something, you're sewing, and we can just be together making little things together and enjoying each other's company. So welcome. If you are new to my channel, then hello, my name's Paige, and please subscribe to my channel if you like crafty, sewing, chatty videos. And in this video I'm going to be upcycling a denim jacket. I feel like this is a go-to for a lot of people when it comes to upcycling. It's one of those really rewarding projects that doesn't require too much in terms of sewing skills. You can paint on a jacket, you can add embellishments, you can cut things, you can do whatever, change up the buttons. I'm actually not 100% sure what I want to do to this denim jacket yet. I picked up this denim jacket last week in a charity shop for, how much I spent? £7.50, and it's cropped, which I thought was quite fun. I don't actually own a cropped denim jacket, so I got this one. I don't know if someone's previously cropped it or it came like this. In terms of how the hem looks, I do think it already had a cropped hem, just because of the darkness at the bottom, you can see, but it is rolling up slightly, so I'm going to try and do something about that because I don't like it when hems start to roll up like that. So I think maybe some kind of heavy trim or something on the bottom would work really well. But I really love the idea of adding a fun little collar to this to make it look like a little tulip or a flower, you know, around the outside. I'm going to a fairy festival in August, and I feel like I'm going to wear like a fairy cutesy little dress, but I do think some kind of collar or something on a denim jacket would be nice just to chuck on. So anyway, we're going to have a little think about it. I'm going to have a little peruse on Pinterest. I'll show you what I am thinking, and we'll go from there. So if you are new to my channel, make sure to subscribe, give this video a little thumbs up. I'm really near to 100k subscribers, so let's try and get me there by the end of the year. Any likes, follows, whatever is like super appreciated. So without further ado, let's get into it. Hi. So the thing I like to do with most of my upcycle projects, or just projects in general, is have a little browse on Pinterest, Instagram, TikTok, and just see things that are catching my eye, that I'm inspired by. Sometimes I'll do like a mashup of ideas, sometimes I will directly copy or be influenced by someone else's upcycle, and it really just depends on the base project, so the jacket that I have to upcycle, what the shapes are looking like, what the seam allowances are. Sometimes denim jackets have seams across the front or the back, or they have them down the middle, so it really just depends on the seams of the jacket and also what I'm going to be wearing it for. So for example, I have a lot of upcycle jackets already that are sequined and painted and like kind of have a festival-y vibe about them. This one, I kind of want it to have a little bit of uniqueness, of course, but I want it to also be wearable outside of the festival vibes. So first things first, I'm on Pinterest. Let's bring you down a little bit. So yeah, I love using my iPad because I just think the interface of Pinterest on an iPad is just so fabulous. Here we go. So here's my board, Thrift Made Fun, and this was the one that really took my eye the other day. I love that so much. So we could kind of just play off of that and then look at some other ideas or concepts. One thing that is really bothering me about Pinterest at the moment is how much AI infiltrated images have made it onto here, and I hate it because the whole point for me about Pinterest is having these like handmade, tangible, gorgeous things to be inspired by, and when it's not a real image, it really sucks. Like, I don't want to be inspired by something that isn't real. So that might be quite nice, is going over the top stitching with like a big bright colour, maybe adding some like edges to the pocket or something. Just add some like cool little trim. See what I mean? This is a AI generated image and it just sucks. So I'm going to combine, I'm going to put together a little mood board and I'm going to show you. Hi. So this is my mood board. These are the images that I'm most inspired by. So we've got a mixture of trims and crochet and top stitching. with like a flowery pinky theme. So next step is to go through my stash, look at what supplies, trims and things I have, and start pulling together a collection of things that might work on the jacket. I have a lot of little things that we could use. So I've got some pom-pom trim. I've got giant rickrack, which I think is calling my name. I think this is so cool and would look great around maybe the collar or the pockets. They have 3 different pinks. I have like this medium one, this chunky one, and then I also have this like light, well, this Barbie pink in a small colour, a small size. I also have this little pink one, really cute. Okay guys, you're gonna have to trust the vision here. So I'm thinking this chunky rickrack at the bottom, and then some kind of trim around the pocket. This would look super cute, I think. If not this, then the this rickrack. And then I've got this fabric in my stash, and I'm going to self-draft a collar to sit on top of this one, like in a little flower shape. And I'm thinking maybe having it so that it can be poppered on and off, so that it's removable, so I can just wear the denim jacket on its own, or I can add the little flower collar. I'm just about to start prepping the collar for my denim jacket, and I wanted to talk a little bit about this brand that I have been working with. It is Mettler Threads, and I absolutely love the quality of their threads, and they have some really gorgeous options. I thought for a little bit of fun, I would add some really gorgeous thread details to the upcycle jacket, and I wanted to show you guys this amazing poly sheen pastels kit. The poly sheen multis are these gorgeous threads that have like a variety of shades within them, so you get this kind of like marbly effect when you're sewing, and it just looks really gorgeous. So I think when I'm using a different type of stitch on my machine to do, say for example, like the green leaf details up the front, or I'm sewing like the pink trims on, this would be a really fun one to use, and there's lots of different colours in there. How stunning is this? It's a gold thread, looks really good quality. I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do on the jacket with this yet, but I think I might do some really beautiful stitches on the pocket or something like that. So yeah. So I'm laying my jacket out flat, and what I need to do is try and trace on a piece of paper this collar piece, and then we can use that piece to draft our own pattern for the flower shape. So whenever I cut out PDF patterns, I always keep hold of the scrap paper, and I use this whenever I'm doing any sort of drafting or anything like that. So, and it is a little bit of wiggling around and sort of just playing it by ear. It's not going to be perfect, but as long as we get a good trace of the colour. So here is my traced collar. Now, in order to make the flower shape, what I want to do is I'm just going to cut this out. Okay. Fold the piece. I'm going to fold the piece in half, and this is where we can see how uneven my piece is, but that's okay. What I'm going to do is use that half piece to make and draft my flower petal collar. So we want more space at the top here, so let's use this piece. We also need to allow for this bottom bit so we can add on a seam allowance. So if I say about here, and again I'm just drawing the rough outline, and then I'm going to go in with my pattern drafting ruler just in case. Okay, so this will be a cut on fold, and we will need 2 pieces plus 1 interfacing. Cool. So So it really helps to have something like this in your sewing kit, especially if you're doing upcycling or drafting. And I'm just going to go in now and make sure that my line, my centre back line is straight. So I'm lining up my 90-degree angle on this bottom line, just drawing that in straight. And this is a rough curved edge, but that's okay, because now what I'm going to do is look at my reference picture and then draw a kind of organic shape based on that. Okay, I'm going to cut that out, you guys, so you can see what it looks like, because I know the lines are probably very confusing. And then also I can get a better view of what that looks like and make any adjustments if I need to. So obviously I need to add seam allowance, but this is just to see what the rough shape is looking like. 1 centimetre to the centre back. I do think the shape of it is nice though. So again, let's test it out at the front. My pattern piece to the item. So that's roughly what it would look like at the front. So I actually think I need to make this, I like the length of it, although it is covering the pocket a little bit. So now I can just make my adjustments. So I want it to come and maybe come down from there. So we'll see a little bit of that one there. Alright, so now that I've sort of made that adjustment, I know what to add, I can create my final piece. So here is my finished piece. I'm now going to lay out my fabric, what is really gorgeous like pink cotton. And as we're doing it on the fold, I'm just going to fold it. I'll obviously give it a good press in a second. And what I'm going to do is add my seam allowance to the piece that I'm cutting, just these, but obviously you can add your seam allowance before. Now we can cut that out. I've added a little reference point on the fabric as well, where that pivot point is on my circles, because when you're stitching your collared pieces together you want to pivot at that 1 centimetre seam allowance, but at the right place, just so you know that your circle shapes are correct. And then repeat that again with another one, so that you've got 2 pieces. I'm going to use some of this 279 Visalign. It's like a very lightweight wadding for my interfacing instead of just normal interfacing. Obviously you could just use standard interfacing, but I want to give this flower collar a little bit of body just so that it has a nice shape to it. And we're just cutting one of these, and I'm going to cut it so that I also leave out this 1 centimetre seam allowance, so that there's no bulk or body on that seam there. So you have 3 layers. This is right sides together, and then you've got your wadding layer, and we're going to sew on the sewing machine 1 centimetre, starting from this pin here down. You're just going to be edge stitching just on top of that wadding, down all the way around your petals, pivoting at those points that I mentioned to you, and then back up, pivot here, and then stitch, and you're leaving this gap open for turning it through. Okay, make sure to back stitch at both ends. Here is that sewn. So now what we want to do is clip in at every corner that we pivoted at. Just make sure not to cut through the stitch. Corners, and then we want to just cut away some of the bulk from that piece, and then we're going to remove some bulk of this wadding. I've also just clipped the curves as well, so that it's got some flexibility. And now we can turn it we can turn it inside out. Okay, need to make sure that we give all of these seams a nice roll with your fingertips, and then we're going to give it a good press, making sure that this edge is pressed together like that, and then we can top stitch this closed. And I'm going to top stitch around all of the edges with the Mettler thread. I'm going to use this pink one, and then what I'm also going to do is go around the collar and up, down, up, so it looks like little petals. Right, the moment of truth, seeing if it fits. So this is the little collar. It looks so cute. I'm really pleased with it, you guys. What do you think? Looks so adorable. So now I could decide what I want to do with all of this stuff. So I'm going to be adding the green Mettler thread down this centre front to look like the stems. I'm not sure what green I prefer, the more bluey green or the yellowy green, I don't know. But anyway, and then I've got this rickrack trim to sew around the bottom edge. I do have some inbuilt stitches on my sewing machine actually, that would be really cute. So maybe some like leaves or something. So I'm going to go for the yellowy green thread colour. And then this is what I was saying about with my sewing machine having different stitches. So I'm going to do a decorative stitch. So here is the finished jacket, you guys. I'll overlay some other footage as well so you can see me wearing it. But I love how it turned out. I think the collar is so cute. And it's also great that I can, you know, take it off and just wear it without the collar and have the stitching detail as like the main focus. Or I can pop the collar on and then I've got this really cute little flower shaped collar addition to the jacket. So let me know what you guys think in the comments, and I will pop a link down below for the Mettler thread and anything else that I've mentioned. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you next time.